Hello everybody, welcome to Rainierbooks. This is December the 27th of 2021 and today I want to give you the 20 winners of 20 literary prizes of this year. The award year doesn't start in the summer or in the fall, it does start very early. And here I'm going to share with you the 20 literary awards that I thought were the most interesting to me this year. The 1st of February this year was the day when the Costa Awards were announced in the UK. Costa is a great coffee chain, and I think for more than 30 years they have their very famous literary award, which is aiming at the quality of literary work, but also at the possibility of reading this in a broader audience. And this year's Costa Award for Fiction went to The Mermaid of Black Conch by Monique Roffey. And this is a classical story, actually. It plays out in the Caribbean. A fisherman finds a mermaid. He falls in love with her. He has to protect her from other people. This is the story of Black Conch, which is the island. And this is the story of a fisherman, David, who attracts Akea, the mermaid, an innocent young woman cursed by jealous wives to live as a mermaid. Things can happen. And that's a beautiful story that the jury of the Costa Prize loved so much that it gave her, the author, the award, the Costa Prize. The Costa has a second award that is very interesting, I think, and that's a first novel award, a debut award. And this also went to a female writer, also from a writer from the Caribbean. This went to Ingrid Persaud and her debut novel, Love After Love. And this is the story of three people living together in a house. Betty, who's a widow, and her son, and a man, an older man who moves into the house, and the secrets that we have in families. The mother and the son sort of fall apart. They have a break in their relationship, in their mother-son relationship, and the son moves to New York as an undocumented immigrant, and the older man, is sort of the connection between the two for many years, but he also has a very touching family secret, and the secrets are revealed in this novel. This is Love After Love by Ingrid Persaud. The third prize is the Los Angeles Book Award. I think it's called that. It's the Los Angeles Times Book Prize for Fiction. Los Angeles Times has a lot of literary awards, and they're always announced in April. This one was announced on the 19th of April of 2021, and the biggest piece, the fiction award, went to the French writer David Diop for At Night All Blood is Black, translated from the French by Anna Moschovakis. And David is a young Senegalese French writer, and this is a novel about two soldiers in the First World War, Alpha and Mademba. They're from Senegal and they fight for France against the Germans. Then one of the two boys, Mademba, is wounded and dies in a shell hole with his belly torn open. And now the whole war, for feeling the grief after his brother, more than brother, Alpha is alone and lost amidst the savagery of the conflict. He devotes himself to the war and to the violence and death, but soon begins to frighten even his own comrades in arms. And this won the Los Angeles Prize, the Los Angeles Book Prize. On the 22nd of April, the Stella Prize was announced in Australia. The Stella Prize is similar to the Women's Prize, but the Women's Prize for Fiction is for all writers in English who are female or, I think from next year on, non-binary. But the Stella Prize is only for Australian female authors. And the Stella Prize this year went to the author Evie Wyld for her novel The Base Rock. And The Base Rock is a novel about three women in different centuries and different times, and the rock that is sort of uniting them all. They live around this base rock in Scotland and Scottish mainland. And across 3 centuries, the fates of 3 women are inextricably linked to this place and to each other. Reminds me a little bit of a later published book this year of Anthony Doerr's Cloud Cuckoo Land. Evie Wyld, The Base Rock. April 29 is the first book that I can show you here live. This is the Edgar Awards, which is the best crime fiction in the United States. It's an international award. You can win it also if you are not living or if you're not a citizen of the US. But it's announced and awarded in the United States, the Edgars, as they are called. And this year, the best novel was Djinn Patrol on the Purple Line by Deepa Anappara from India. And she's currently living in the UK. Deepa Anappara's novel Djinn Patrol on the Purple Line is about children's detectives in India, children disappearing and children investigating. A very great debut novel that I highly, highly recommend to you. The 2nd of May is the day this year when the Oregon Book Awards were presented. And you know that I love Oregon. I'm wearing this Oregon t-shirt right now. And and they have the Kesey Award for fiction that they are giving to an Oregon author. And this went to the wonderful and to the great Vanessa Veselka for her amazing, beautiful American novel, The Great Offshore Grounds. I read this, I think, last year together with Paula from Draw Your Book, and we also interviewed the author. It was a great experience to talk to Vanessa. This is a novel about two sisters roaming through the United States to this beautiful but poor country. It's about poverty in the United States. It's about the sea, and it's about feminism and many, many other things. A great American novel. Vanessa Veselka was number 2 among my 10 novels, best novels of 2020. And as you can see, there are some novels from 2020 here, because some awards sort of award books that were written last year. 10th of May is the Faulkner Award for Fiction in 2021, which also went to a book from 2020 and a book that I also read, also buddy read actually with Courtney Farrader. And this is The Secret Lives of Church Ladies by Deesha Phyliaw. The Secret Lives of Church Ladies. Short stories from Deesha Phyliaw, her debut as a prose author, where she describes the lives of black women in the American South in a humorous way, in a sad way, and she also gave me the recipe of peach cobbler, which is my favorite story of this volume. The Dublin Literary Award was then given on the 19th of May. And the Dublin Literary Award is an award where libraries from all over the world can nominate books to the award. The libraries decide who's going to win this. And the International Dublin Library Award 2021 went to Lost Children Archive by Valeria Luiselli. I read that book last year. It's a very intellectual approach about the migrant crisis, or whatever you might call it, the migrant situation in between the Mexican and American border. It's about a family who is slowly falling apart, a couple traveling from New York to the Mexican border with their 2 children. And it's really worthwhile reading. An unforgettable dream scene in the desert. June the 2nd. Oh my God, where's the book? No, it's okay. June the 2nd was the International Booker Prize for translation, literary translation. And we have the only book that won 2 awards from the 20 that I mentioned here. The International Booker Literature in Translation Award of 2021 went to All at Night, All Blood is Black by David Diop, the book that also won the Los Angeles Prize for Fiction. The 11th of June gave us the Pulitzer Prize to the great American First Nation Indigenous author Louise Erdrich for her novel The Night Watchman. She is one of the greatest living American authors. I continue with the 15th of July. That was the day when the Miles Franklin Award in Australia was given. That's the most important Australian award. Amanda Laurie for her novel The Labyrinth. Labyrinth is about a mother and son relationship in southwest Australia, where the son is sentenced to a prison sentence, and he has committed something called homicidal negligence, and the mother moves close to that prison in order to be close to her son, to be able to visit her son. It's about that mother-son relationship. October the 18th was the German Buchpreis, der Deutsche Buchpreis, as it is called. This year it went to an author called Antje Ravik-Strubel and her novel Blaue Frau. These are books that are not very often translated into English. It hopefully will. Blaue Frau, The Blue Woman, is about a woman in Helsinki, Finland, who is suffering or has suffered from sexual violence or from domestic violence for many years. November the 3rd, the Prix Goncourt in France, which is supposed to be the greatest French award of literature, went to the novel La plus secrète mémoire des hommes, Man's Most Secret Memories in English, written by Mohamed Mbougar Sarr. Mohamed Mbougar Sarr is from Senegal, and for his third novel, he won the Prix Goncourt this year. He's only 31 years old, and hopefully this novel will be translated into English. It's a novel about a young Senegalese writer living in Paris who discovers a book by the fictional African author T.C. Eliman, nicknamed the Black Rimbaud. And the story mirrors the life of Malian writer Jambo Ouleguem, who won the Prix Renaudot in 1968, but was later accused of plagiarism, left France, and disappeared from public life. Sounds like a very interesting, very, very interesting story. This is La plus secrète mémoire des hommes. I'm almost through. The Booker Prize was announced the day after the Prix Goncourt was announced. And the Booker Prize, I made also an individual review of this book. The Booker went to South Africa and to Damon Galgut for his amazing South African novel, The Promise, which spans over 4 funerals over several decades and mirrors the history of the country. 4 days later, on November 8th, I just finished this book yesterday, was the time to hand out Canada's big prize, the Scotiabank Giller Prize for Literature for Canadian Fiction. And this went to Omar El-Akkad and his story, his novel, What Strange Paradise, written about the Mediterranean refugee crisis. A little boy stranded on an unnamed island somewhere in the Mediterranean, hunted by man in uniform, but saved and protected by a 15-year-old girl named Venna Hermes. This is Omar El-Akkad. Then 14th of November, the time for the National Book Awards, translated literature. The prize, I was super enthusiastic when she won because I had read that novel just a few days before the announcement. And this is an author that you should absolutely write down in your notebooks. One of the greatest discoveries for me of this year. And I can't wait to buy her next novel, which comes out in English next year. It's already out in French. She has published 3 novels in French, and one of them is in English, but all of them will be translated into English. This is Elisa Chua du Sapin and her beautiful book, Winter in Sokcho, about the life of a young woman in the coastal town of Sokcho in South Korea. It's a very interesting novel. You should absolutely read it. L-O-V-E it. Translated from the French by Anis Abbas Higgins and published by Open Letter. On the same day, this man won the National Book Award for American Fiction. This is Jason Mott for his novel Hell of a Book. A book about a black writer has written a book about a black writer who has written a book called Hell of a Book, and this is called Hell of a Book. Very readable and very good one. 16th of November was the Governor General's Award for Fiction in Canada, the second big Canadian award. And this year it went to Norma Dunning, who is a First Nation Inuk writer. And her short story collection, which I pronounce wrongly now, I know, Taina, The Unseen Ones, about women, Inuk women in Canada. 23rd of November, number 19 here on my list of 20 awards, the 20 award-winning books of 2021, the Irish Book Awards. And who do you think won it? Of course. It went to the pretty commercial, but it went to the bestseller of the bestsellers maybe this year. It went to Sally Rooney and Beautiful World, Where Are You? Or Where Are You? by Sally Rooney, a book that I absolutely have to read to understand the hype. And the last one, last but not least, is the Center for Fiction First Novel Prize from the United States, which this year goes to the author Kirsten Valdez-Quaid and her novel The Five Wounds. That was handed out on December 7, and The Five Wounds is a debut novel about a man in New Mexico who has a daughter who's pregnant, and this man is supposed to play Jesus in the Christmas play, and lots of similarities probably to the biblical story, I guess. I don't know so much about this book, but this is number 20, and all these books sound very interesting to me. And please tell me down in the comments below which award-winning books you have read this year, and what do you think about award winners? Should we read award winners? I think it's great to read award winners. We don't have to read them all, but from time to time, because we learn so much about books that we otherwise wouldn't recognize. Otherwise, there's so many books that are hyped and by the publishers, by booktubers, by Barack Obama, by Oprah Winfrey, by other people, but we don't fish out the golden pieces that we otherwise would overlook if there weren't the awards that point us into the direction of books that we otherwise would overlook. Does that make meaning? I hope so. This is everything I had to say for today. Thank you very much for watching. I hope that you have a great reading week until the new year. I see you before the new year. Bye-bye.